newest, bleeding edge technology innovation. Loot boxes. Loot boxes have made headlines over the past year, and you, the moronic, gobbling maw of consumer idiocy that you are, have shown little to no regret in just plain dumping your money into this deeply insulting monetization model.
This came out a few days ago. Another article by Jason Schreier at Kotaku. What day was this? Like the 21st or something? Yep, so Tuesday. It's basically on the US Senator and his anti-loot box bill that has the gaming industry worried. That's the title. I do wonder if the gaming industry is actually worried at all when you think about it. This was done before by the senator in Hawaii, remember? That guy who got popular for 5 whole minutes with his anti-loot box bill. What happened there? It fucking fell in the toilet and vanished. The article starts off with Republican Senator Josh Hawley, an advocate for video game players or an ambitious politician with a savvy staff who know a win-win argument when they see one. If you read this, it's pretty much by the books, in the sense of it's the typical sort of politician rhetoric. The big sort of push the guy has is, we gotta protect the children. The children!
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And when you get to my age and you've seen politicians do this over and over and over again for decades, as far back as when Dee Snider was a relevant musician, fighting with the government over lewd and crass lyrics and rock and roll. They're making the kids crazy. The kids doing coke. My son's wearing panties because of Dee Snider and Twisted Sister. Basically, one, I'm going to put it like this. I don't think this guy gives that much of a shit on the real. I don't think most politicians care about anything other than their own career and advancing said career in politics. And two, he admits himself that he's not a gamer. Therefore, how could he talk with any impunity on this? You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I hate loot boxes as much as anybody else. But the idea of having the government mixed in with gaming, oh God, I think I'd rather deal with loot boxes. Because I can escape paying for loot boxes. I can't escape the government taxing me for some damn reason. We introduced a no loot box tax to help you guys out, you know? To keep those loot boxes out, we got to introduce a 9% tax on your next video game purchase, on top of your state tax. And frankly, if something like this passes in America, it's only really going to come back to bite the gamers in the ass. Back on December 28th of 2017, where the Bethesda founder says loot boxes may backfire, but players may have to absorb the increasing cost of AAA video games. This is one of the key things I wanted to touch on. And even he saw the writing on the wall, that I'm pretty sure most of these AAA developers did, but they went with it anyway. If this keeps up, at some point it was going to backfire. Now, let's say this bill does actually come through. As much as we want to sit and rejoice it, which on one hand I'd like to see the loot boxes get kicked in the sack, mainly because of EA. On the other hand, this will only bite us in the ass. Because you think the AAA industry is going to take that L, dude? If loot boxes go through the force of like the government, they're probably going to just hit us with the increasing price. I mean, that's just how it goes. Kind of like when the internet service providers were throttling Netflix, what happened? Not only did Netflix pay the ransom, but they also forwarded the bill to us. So Netflix went up in price because a few internet service providers wanted a little extra yen. And the same will be done here. I wouldn't be surprised if loot boxes went up in flames, then they just turn around and say to us, well, I guess we're just going to have to increase the price of video games so that it can remain profitable. It's an industry built on trying to amass as much wealth as possible, over and over again. We've seen it a lot this year when Activision had record profits and then fired 800 fucking people. They're like, oh, we made so much money, but we got to let these people go. We didn't make enough money. Call of Duty's Battle Royale mode made $500 million in what, a week or so? But since it was $50 million short of the projected earnings they wanted, they called the game a flop. Or was it like $5 million short? It was some ridiculous number, and I'm sitting there like, it's a flop because of that? It's still doing well. This is insanity. And frankly, fuck them. This shit does happen and loot boxes get taken out and they try to increase the price of games on me. I'll sit and wait it out. I don't care. I can paint Gunpla, dude. Like, I do not care. I'll wait till a Steam sale. You're not getting my money. Fuck everybody involved. Now to think about it. The government's fucking you, the gaming industry's fucking you, and the girl next door refuses to fuck you. It's a fucking shame. Now, Josh, the senator says I have to be honest with you, Jason, I am not myself a gamer. So it does not stem from my personal experience. It stems from being a parent of 2 little boys and talking to lots of parents, and also hearing, by the way, from lots of gamers who are concerned about what the C-suit is doing here, basically adding casinos to children's games. He keeps repeating casinos to children's games over and over and over again. That's pretty much his raison d'etre. The perfect sort of slogan. We're here to protect children. We're here to help children.
Wow, what a waste. The poor children.
They even talk a little bit about how loot boxes are geared towards adults. Well, Jason Schreier points him down that direction. And he goes, oh, yes, well, that's kind of an issue, too. The gaming industry doesn't care about people's health and well-being, at one point the article says. And this makes me skeptical as fuck, considering it's America. And for God's sakes, we're the only first world nation without universal health care. So, people's health and well-being, I don't think the government gives much of a shit. Let's be real here. On top of that, children, all of this stuff about protecting children, it's no more than lip service and probably one of the best moves to get yourself elected. Get some sort of cause that people really can't kick the crap out of. Oh, he's doing this to save and help children. He cares about children. The game industry is out to vilify and rob and corrupt our children. For real, if you're worried about your kid's health and well-being, maybe look at your fucking kid. I mean, most adults get tired of the kid and give them iPhones. Do you know why? Because mommy and daddy don't want to be bothered. And at that point, why even have a child, in my opinion, if you can't stand a little bastard? Now, to be even more of a crappy investigative journalist, if you remember, there were the budget cuts that Trump was working on that would kill after-school funding. Now, this would only affect the really low-income families nationwide. People like me when I was growing up, where after-school programs were pretty much the only thing you had going. I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club, man, and they used to have these delicious fucking sandwiches. But to be real with you, they weren't good. We had government cheese on those sandwiches, and the turkey meat was grainy like it was made of sand. I don't know why I liked it. It was such an odd texture. I don't know why I liked that turkey, but it was probably like the lowest grade meat they could give us. And, if people are so worried about kids in politics, why the fuck are we losing these programs? Because whatever. It's kind of like with abortion. Everybody loves and wants to protect children. Oh, we got to ban abortion. Then when the kid's born, we're like, oh, the child is a statistic. The little bastard is already in debt. They owe us money. But I should be a little bit more concise, considering I spent all this time looking up crap, and I'm just going about it in my usual sentiment. Now, let's look at Chicago, for instance. Chicago started this idea back in 2015. Chicago's pretty corrupt, for those of you who don't know or live there. And for people who do live in Chicago, my condolences. In 2015, Chicago started pitching around the idea of, hey, we want to start something called the amusement tax. The amusement tax was pretty much what it is. They tax you for using Netflix, Xbox Live, PlayStation Online, and God knows what else.
What? What the fuck?
An amusement tax. That's like some Middle Ages shit right there.
Lord Henry's decreed that you peasants are far too happy for your social status, so enacted immediately there shall be an amusement tax.
See, Martha, I told you to stop frolicking in the goddamn wheat. Now we gotta pay a tax on amusement. Boy, you don't put down that stick. Did you hear there's a tax on amusement? That's as far as I could stomach reading before getting sick in my mouth. I talked about it before when it passed. Well, since it has passed, Chicago's collected $2 million from the Netflix tax. That's pretty much what they call it, but it also affects other things. This is ridiculous. In order to make up for basically running Chicago into the ground because the people who are in charge are moronic, to say the least, they now foot the bill on the taxpayer. Well, we made a lot of bad decisions with money and whatnot. How are we going to fix it? Tax the hell out of them for using Xbox. Chicago's also putting together taxes to get you for buying stuff online. It's also come to New York. The fact that this is successful in Chicago, I'm 100% sure other states will follow. This is what happens when you let legislators and government get in bed with your entertainment. They figure you owe us money. You laying in bed watching Netflix? Where's my money, bitch? And it's like, well, what did you do? Chicago is also enacting they're petitioning a gas tax that would double the state tax per gallon for gasoline.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
And you might be one of those smart asses who sits there and goes, ha, get fucked, I own a Tesla. Don't worry, they got you covered too, Mr. Electric Car Boy. Chicago is also proposing an annual registration fee of $1,000 if you own a Tesla or an electric car. There you go. Thought you're getting around that gas tax, didn't you, you snipe son of a bitch? You're not. This is what we live in. It's actually quite sad, almost scary. The fact that there's even something called an amusement tax, hashtag the Netflix tax. And you think that wouldn't happen in gaming? The government got involved and really got rid of loot boxes? It's a double-edged sword. As much as I want the loot boxes gone, I don't really want the government sticking its nose in there looking for an extra bit of money because they smell blood, and they will get it. I can avoid buying loot boxes. I can't avoid paying taxes. Them motherfuckers will come for you.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills.
Now, these politicians that are saying it's the loot boxes and stuff are really affecting kids, but it turns out from this recent study, it says U.S. adults are spending big on video games, playing mostly on smartphones. Predominantly women in their 30s and 40s.
Please think of the children!
The average American gamer is around 33 years old, prefers to play on their smartphone, and is spending big on content, 20% or more than a year ago. That's 85% more than 2015, a report showed on Thursday. Now, with the way this bill is being packaged, it seems like the loot boxes are a huge problem geared towards children, but it's turning out to be adults really forking over the money, mainly in smartphone areas. But for every kid that's doing this, there's probably like 10 adult females playing Candy Crush, dropping way more coin, for God's sakes. And to end it all, because this has probably gone on far too long and I haven't really made this concise and put together, I read most of this and then I just sort of went on my own harangue or riffing as usual, which is sad that I spent all this time looking up stuff to back up my claims, only to do the typical Gundam thing, talk like a normal guy. On May 7, 2019, Polygon released the article called "Fortnite is free, but kids are getting bullied into spending money." The long and the short of this is basically kids are now being peer pressured into having Fortnite swag. Now, for those of you that are around my age, you remember the old days. Back when you were young, if you were broke, everybody ripped on you for wearing the same clothes over and over again. That was me. Everyone ripped on you for wearing Payless shoes or only one pair of decent shoes. Once again, that was me. Now, what's going to happen here? Are we going to put in a bill to stop children from bullying other kids into wearing better Fortnite gear? What? You're still rocking that Season 7 outfit, you loser? I mean, really, if I had to choose between buying $300 Jordans back when he was still playing basketball versus dropping $10 on a Fortnite skin to be one of the popular kids, I would have taken the Fortnite skin. My mother might have given me the money for it. And it would have probably resulted in less ass whoopings and public humiliation. But I should just wrap this up. Overall, I don't think this bill's going to get much traction because these bills never really do. Most of the politicians in Congress and so on and so forth don't give a shit. What I think I see here is a young senator who sees something he could hop on that he doesn't have much knowledge of, but knows it's a good talking point that nobody will really refute or go against. Because basically, if you do, everyone will say, oh, well, you don't care about kids, or this is predatory towards children. We care about children. Unless we have to pay for the after-school program, then fuck the kids. I mean, really. Everything here I just looked at and thought to myself, this is a whole lot of nothing. It's a whole lot of political speak. It's a whole lot of fluff. It's a whole lot of the kids, the kids, the kids. And I've heard it 1,000 times before. Back when Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 first came out and there were politicians, oh, we have to do something about Mortal Kombat. It's corrupting the kids. I saw my son trying to do a fatality in the backyard. It was terrible. Oh, this rap music, NWA. Oh, we gotta legislate against it. The white children are getting down with OPP. Someone do something. It's the same shit over and over again. And frankly, if I have to choose between loot boxes and the government being involved in gaming, I'll have to take the loot boxes.